When you buy an inflatable doll suddenly comes to life, what kind of things will happen between you? When she has a wound on her body and starts to leak air and become flat, how will you treat the air doll that breathes? Let's look at the life and love of air doll. Hideo, a working man, is still alone in his middle age. In order to relieve loneliness, he bought an air doll as a companion. He talked to her every day. He even gave her the name Alcyomi. Hideo would go out with Alcyomi and play with her or on dates in the park. It seemed like this happy life would last forever until one day, Alcyomi suddenly started to move one morning. Everything in the world was new to her. The sunlight outside the window, the gentle breeze, and the dandelions fluttering in the wind. Everything was telling her how beautiful the world was. As a newborn, Alcyomi began to explore the world like a newborn. She changed into nice clothes. She went out of the room to explore the outdoors. The first thing Alcyomi learned was that she didn't know anything about combustible and non-combustible garbage. She was happy. It's just that happiness is always like a breeze. It comes and goes as quickly as it comes. As the sky grew darker, Alcyomi realized that she was alone. For the first time, she learned what it means to be alone and lonely. But luckily, Alcyomi was looking for a way home when she found a video store. Each film in the store represented a story and a world. There was a man in the store who deserved her attention. June instantly caught Alcyomi's attention. When Hideo came back at night, he didn't notice anything wrong with her. He still took Alcyomi to the park for a date. Alcyomi resisted Hideo's closeness for the first time because she had a mind that she shouldn't have. A new day begins. Alcyomi also secretly took her first step. She went to work as a clerk in a video store. At the same time, Alcyomi started to feel the beauty of life from the people around her. But when the store manager asked her if she had a boyfriend, Alcyomi lied because she had someone she liked. She didn't like her owner, Hideo. Even when Alcyomi came home, she still had to do intimate things with Hideo. But Alcyomi was already thinking about more things. As she looked at the stars, Alcyomi started to make an effort to be more like a human being. Her relationship with the sales clerk June was getting better and better. They went shopping together, going to the beach, dinner, but the good life will end eventually. On the way back, Alcyomi finds her shadow is different from June's. She carefully hid away. She was afraid that June would dislike her if he found out about this. Gradually, Alcyomi began to feel it seems that she can be a kind of existence that others need, but she was just a cheap air doll, so Alcyomi felt inferior and shy. When Hideo comes home and lies next to her, Alcyomi would go back to her previous state as a doll. It was like nothing had happened to her. In a small park on the side of the road, Alcyomi met an old man. Alcyomi learns through communication that the difference she has been feeling is called emptiness. She felt the same as thousands of other people in the city. Alcyomi is not the only one who feels empty. Just when Alcyomi's life seemed to be going smoothly, Alcyomi accidentally fell off a ladder. Her skin on the outside was scratched by a nail. June heard the sound and came to see this. Alcyomi's worst fears had come true. As an air doll, she had an air leak. Her original sexy and beautiful body immediately lost its fullness. Although June was shocked, but he patched up the cut for Alcyomi. Then he filled her up with air. For the first time, Alcyomi felt what it means not to be empty. Her empty body was now filled with June's care. This made her feel happy for the first time. It was as if she had experienced bliss. Alcyomi threw away her inflatable device. She was not an empty air doll anymore. Her body felt happy with June's breath. Through this event that almost cost her life, Alcyomi reveals her identity and the truth to June, but June said that they felt the same way. He was living an empty life like a doll every day. The two of them came to an understanding. At that moment, Alcyomi went to see a movie for the first time. She acted like June's girlfriend at this time. The two of them had a very happy date for one night. So when she came home, Hideo fell asleep with Alcyomi in his arms. Alcyomi even felt dirty when Hideo touched her. She wanted to wash away the filth with water. She felt that she didn't exist to provide a tool for Hideo's satisfaction. Once Alcyomi as a robot, she wanted more. Then she came to June's house. Alcyomi saw a picture of June's ex-girlfriend that he had been keeping. The pain she hadn't felt in a long time swept through Alcyomi's body. It turns out that she can't fully possess June's robot. She might even be a substitute for June's ex-girlfriend. The painful Alcyomi hid herself in a corner. It was a place where Hideo couldn't find her. She wanted to leave Hideo, but Alcyomi had nowhere to go but Hideo's house. The next day, Alcyomi met Hideo at work when he went to rent a movie. She carefully avoided him, but the store manager saw all this. It turned out that the store manager knew Alcyomi's secret. He threatened Alcyomi with the secret and assaulted her. At this point, it seems that the good world has come to a dead end. Alcyomi's relationship with June comes to a standstill. She returns to Hideo's house, but Alcyomi found out that Hideo had bought a new ear doll this time. This made her feel surprised. The love story that Hideo used to say can be continued to the next doll. Alcyomi couldn't stand it anymore. She asked Hideo to her face what he really felt for her, but Hideo wasn't happy that Alcyomi had become human. Instead, he wanted her to become a doll again. All Hideo needed was for Alcyomi to be absolutely obedient to him as an air doll. She doesn't need to have a robot of her own. In fact, even Alcyomi's name comes from Hideo's ex-girlfriend. Alcyomi was always just a substitute for Hideo to replace someone else. Alcyomi ran away from home and went to the old man's house. She learned it from the old man that they were all the same person. They are all substitutes for others, and substitutes mean that they will never be valued. Even their own existence is in jeopardy. They could be replaced by someone else at any moment. Alcyomi began to doubt herself at this point. Is it a good thing or a bad thing for a doll to have a mind? If she hadn't had a mind, maybe she wouldn't be suffering like this. She went to visit an air doll maker, but the maker could only tell her. In fact, there is no difference between dolls and humans. One of them is combustible garbage, and the other is non-combustible garbage. After hearing these words, Alcyomi figured it out. She didn't care who she became a substitute for, as long as she felt that she could be meaningful to the other person. Then Alcyomi could feel satisfied, and that's what makes life happy. Alcyomi took the initiative to confess her love to June, but June made a strange request to her. June wanted to deflate Alcyomi and blow her up again. It was a difficult choice, but Alcyomi agrees to him anyway. They have a blissful and intimate evening, but Alcyomi wasn't satisfied with that. She didn't want to be happy just by herself. If something good happens, we have to share it together. So she imitated what June did to her. She cuts a hole in June's stomach, but June isn't an inflatable doll. Alcyomi couldn't blow her own air into his body either, and so June died in Alcyomi's arms, and Alcyomi's last bit of hope was gone. She breathed out her last breath in the middle of a pile of garbage. She brought out a dandelion and flew into the sky. From then on, she became a part of someone else's life, but at least Alcyomi and June might finally be able to be together forever. The little girl would take her hand and shake it in the garbage, although she could not hear anything back. This fantasy story is about an air doll who suddenly comes to life and finds herself. Air doll will meet others to care for her and take care of her, but she will also be bullied by bad people. Air doll's love story hides a naked dissection of human nature. This is a fantasy story. Alcyomi is not just an air doll. She is every one of us, because we can only realize our emptiness when we have a mind. Alcyomi's life is not a happy ending, but when she said that she used to have a good life, Alcyomi became aware of the present moment, so she's no longer a hollow person. They, like her, are no longer just substitutes who could be replaced at any moment. It's not a happy story because it's incredibly saddening. Being a substitute for another person doesn't have a happy ending after all.